So, ladies and gentlemen, by now, if I tell you that the purpose is good, the purpose is consistent, you should all know what the purpose is. I don't think there's anyone here that doesn't get this eerie feeling, this sort of chills running up and down your spine whenever you hear about the purpose. Every single denizen, every fate scribe, every servant of the Arbiter talks about the purpose non-stop. In Bastion, you hear about the purpose so many times, you're almost sick of it by the end of it. Everything that everyone does is by the purpose. They all believe that the purpose guides them and that the purpose is perfect. When you first arrive in Oribos, there's actually a dialogue scene that takes place where they do not even question you being in the Shadowlands, even though you're not supposed to be there. Remember, you are mortal. The Shadowlands is not a place for mortals. They do not question it because if you're there, then surely it's because the purpose wanted you there. Do you understand how fucked up that is? Like, that way of thinking, how dangerous that is, because they've seemingly fallen into this trap where even if something bad happens, it must have happened because the purpose guides it. The purpose reveals it. So there is, yes, that it's a blind thinking sort of thing. They do not question anything because it must be the purpose's will that this happens. Now, I've spent quite a bit of time thinking about the Shadowlands and how the Shadowlands is sort of set up and how the Shadowlands sort of functions within the universe and how the universe functions around the Shadowlands. Now, I don't think it's a stretch to argue that the Shadowlands seems to be out of place. There's some things there that doesn't appear to belong there. Point in fact, Oribos. Who here can honestly tell me that Oribos fits in the Shadowlands? When you look at it, it seems like this thing, this construct that was placed in the middle of operations to sort of realign how operations were supposed to happen. You have these zones that's built that seemingly enslaves those who go there for their own means. And again, you have this all being blamed on the purpose. But what exactly is the purpose? That's the number one question. That is the $1 million question. What is the purpose? Now, if you have a theory on what it is, before we continue with this, I want to hear what you think it is. I want to hear your take on what the purpose is. What do you think the purpose does? Whose purpose? The purpose is something that's what's the word? Is it omnipotent? I don't know if it's omnipotent, but it seems to be everywhere in the Shadowlands. They all follow the same purpose. Sounds just like the Grand Design from Outer Worlds. Very similar. Omnipresent, that's the word. Yes, omnipresent. It is omnipresent. It's everywhere, right? What does omnipotent mean? Why did that word come to mind? Can do anything, all-knowing, all-powerful, almighty. So omnipotent means all-knowing. But that's then what omnipotent means you can influence any and all things. But that's what I think so that was actually almost the right that is sort of the right word then. That is the right word. Omnipotent, all-powerful, omniscience, omniscience. Am I saying that correctly? Omniscience? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. But anyways, okay, so the purpose seems to be all-knowing, ever-present, everywhere, and everyone follows the purpose. However, there's nowhere where it's written what the purpose actually does. And Macmillan says here for $24. Macmillan, thank you so much for that $24, dude. Really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you've just become the god of the stream night. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that, bro. The purpose is making a small donation. All hail Sylvanas. All hail Sylvanas. 100% agree with that statement. Thank you so much for the donation, dude. Really appreciate that. That will go a long way for the Christmas bonus. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it, guys. Okay, so it doesn't seem to be written anywhere. So here's my problem with the purpose. It doesn't seem to be a book, right? My idea originally for what the purpose was, the original idea that I had for the purpose was sort of like a constitution, right? Sort of like you have with the American Constitution, a document that sort of lays out how everything is meant to happen. Everything is meant to run, you know, all facets of government, effectively keeping that in control. But the more I've learned about the purpose, the more I've realized that's not how it works. The purpose isn't written somewhere. It doesn't exist somewhere. It doesn't appear to be. It's almost as if anything that happens is just the purpose. And everything that doesn't happen is just the purpose. You see how this becomes a very dangerous game? But what if I told you it's even more than that? What if I told you the purpose isn't actually a thing? The purpose is an it. It's an actual being. It's an actual life form. If you don't believe me, I think I can prove it. The purpose. Please note first and foremost that whenever there is talk of the purpose is always with a capital P. Always with a capital P. Everything around you, all that you see, happens through the purpose. The purpose is the guiding principle of all the Arbiter's attendants. It is the reason we are summoned into existence to serve the Eternal City, to serve her. So the purpose, this is another very interesting thing. All of these scribes of the Arbiter, they don't exist anywhere else but on Erebos. They are summoned into existence, which is a pretty big thing that I missed completely. The purpose summons them into existence. So the purpose has the ability to create life out of nothing, seemingly. So the purpose can create life. It creates things. Just as Erebos is the heart of the Shadowlands, so the purpose keeps the realms of death in balance. The purpose guides us. It shows us the path. All beings in the endless cycle serve the purpose, even those who do so unknowingly or unwillingly. You see the blind faith that they have in this? So everything you do is somehow the purpose. Everything that happens is the purpose. It all flows from the purpose. The purpose is everlasting. It has intention. And that was ding, ding, ding. That was the moment I went, whoa, hold up. The purpose isn't a thing. It's a creature. To have intention gives life. This is why, for example, there's this thing about the American Constitution that says it is a living document because it has intention, right? There is an intention behind it and it can actually enforce its intention. The fact that the purpose has intention for me in a game world suggests that it must be a being, right? It must be a thing. And I believe that it is a first one. I believe that the purpose is the first one we have been introduced with without us ever knowing. Without us ever knowing that it is being introduced. The purpose is the being that exists behind everything else. The purpose is the being that set all of this up. But what if it becomes even darker than that? And here I'm specifically influenced by my thoughts about Warhammer. So I've been paying close attention to the Warhammer universe and the story of the Warhammer. The Primus tells us that Zuval must not must not reach the sepulchre under any circumstances. What if the sepulchre is the resting place of the purpose? A first one that requires anima to exist. A first one that without anima would die, would forever be snuffed out. Maybe a first one injured mortally so. And the only way to survive is through a constant feeding of anima, a constant feeding of souls. The reason I say this isn't necessarily as far removed would be Warhammer. The god that controls in the Warhammer universe, Earth. The god of Earth. Actually, Azeroth is not a first one. I have a very, very, very juicy theory about Azeroth. Very juicy. We're going to get into that in a moment. But that was mind-blowing to me when that theory popped into my head. But anyways. There's a god. I don't know what the god's name is. I'm trying to remember what the Warhammer god is called. But he requires 5,000 souls a day in order to survive. It's a slow decaying god. If he doesn't get 5,000 souls a day, he dies, effectively. So, the God Emperor, is that what he's called? Because I thought it was the Emperor, but I thought maybe maybe it has a different name. So, it is the Emperor God. Okay, so he requires constant souls in order to survive. And I thought to myself, what if that is the purpose? What if the purpose is the same as the Emperor? A god that requires anima in order to survive, in order to exist. Suddenly, a lot of things make sense. Suddenly, everything that Sylvanas has planned, everything that Sylvanas wants to do, everything that Zuval has planned makes sense. Because in order to destroy the Shadowlands, one must first destroy the purpose. Destroy the purpose, destroy the Shadowlands. Now it is said by these very denizens here that if the jailer strikes down the Arbiter, everything that the first ones had made would come to an end in an instant. But I don't know about you guys, but the last time I was in the Arbiter's room, it almost felt like a room of mirrors. As if the room hides something. That's the idea I got. It's a room of mirrors. It hides something. There's something just beyond the veil. We can't touch it. We can't see it because the Arbiter sort of obscures it. But it's right there. What if the Arbiter hides the sepulchre? The place where this eternal God, the purpose, lies. Where he feeds on souls in order to stay alive. In order to continue his work. And that is what Zuval and Sylvanas wishes to strike down. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when Ferorius shared this with me, and this was, by the way, if you want to thank anyone for this was Ferorius who came up with this theory and shared this with me. When Ferorius shared this with me, my literally just like fucking mind blown, dude. I was legit sitting there going, oh my god. This could be it. This could legit be fucking it. I don't know how the rest of you feel, and this is why I do these live, so that I can get your thoughts on it. I want to know what you think, because, yeah, personally, I think this is as close to a first one we have ever gotten in World of Warcraft.